Now we're live.
Live. You are tuned in to PM in the PM Pong and Mav in the PM. That's right. We are August the 18th, 2022. Thank you all for joining us, whether you're joining us live or whether you're joining us in the future. Maybe you're joining us and it's like 2075 and like I'm dead and buried and you're still going back and listening to PM to PM. That'd be pretty cool. You know what? I appreciate you no matter when you're tuning in. So thank you all for being here. We've got a lot to talk about, man. This industry is so much fun. Oh God. And who better to sit down with and catch up on things than my brother from another fun speculation, aka Mav. How you been, man? How's your week been? We actually got to play a game together last night. That was crazy. Like,
yeah,
ridiculous.
this is like one of the first weeks in a while where this is not the first time I'm speaking to you.
Correct.
This week, which is awesome. We tried Tribes of Midgard yesterday, bro, and I had already played it before on PlayStation. This was so long, I forgot everything. But then I got distracted because I was eating an amazing dinner while we were playing for a second run through. But I did have fun playing with you, man. We got to play that game some more because
yeah, we will.
It's pretty fun playing with a friend. I tried playing it solo a lot before, and it's definitely better like this way. So besides that, dude, just been playing a lot of different stuff. I'm playing Way of the Hunter a little bit. I have a love-hate relationship with that game. It is like broken at times, and but it's still like kind of, it's got a lot of interesting cool stuff in it. And then also Cult of the Lamb, broken also, yep. Unfortunately, but amazing game. Even when it was broken, I was having a blast playing it. That last time I was playing, I'm playing a little bit of Madden, trying to get back into that as well. Dude, gaming is good. Besides the brokenness of some of the games and stuff, I'm having a blast playing lots of different things, and lots of stuff going on. How have you been?
I've been good, man. I've been real good. Was playing Cult of the Lamb. For anybody who doesn't know, I was gonna have to wait on that one due to budget constraints. But I won out of Windows Central's contest, which was absolutely amazing. Yeah. Shout out to all the ladies and gentlemen over at Windows Central. So I got that game last weekend. I won it over the weekend. I played a ton of it. I went through the first 2 dungeons. I think I'm on like day 38, something like that. I think I'm up to like 13 or 14 cult members, but as Mav just stated, as time went on, the bugs, the crashes, the level locking, once it got over an hour of lost playtime, because that's my biggest thing. Like a game, I'm fine with bugs. Like I play buggy games all the damn time. They don't bother me like they do others. But if the bugs are game breaking or they don't respect my time, that's when I'm out. Yeah. And that's when I'll put it down and I'm like, enough is enough. I played through for a while, but then like I said, they just kept mounting. And the further I got, the more things started popping up. So I was like, you know what? This is a fantastic game. Loving everything about it. The mix of roguelite with, with obviously a colony building sim. It's done very well. Not very deep at all. And so for somebody like me who has in the past certainly played a lot of strategy sim games and that kind of stuff, and I have gotten into roguelites with like Hades and that kind of stuff lately. For me, it was like the perfect mix. Like I was having a great time. Like I understood exactly all the mechanics that were on, and loved it. Every bit of it. I was having a great time. But I had to put it down. So I did put that down and put it aside and tweeted about it just to let everybody know, because I know there's some other people that are actually, some people have fought through it and completed it and still love the game to death. But there's a lot of us out here who are kind of putting it aside, and hopefully they'll get the patches done soon, because I do want to get back to that game. Otherwise, Mav, I re-downloaded Battlefield 2042. I had to do it. I finally saw enough people playing it again. Heard everybody was having a great time. And again, we've had a great time every time we've jumped into it. It's just it is, whatever. It's just not right. So I jumped back into it. They got the season going on. They've got double XP going on. They've got the new map out and all that good stuff that I missed out on when the season started. So I just jumped in for a couple rounds. Now I probably played 3 or 4 rounds since I re-downloaded it. And man, oh man, is that game playing fantastic. Again, why they are being so stubborn to release this into EA Play and give this game a second chance where at least people can download it and try it out. I have no idea why. They're being absolutely asinine right now by not doing that. They're being over the top stubborn. They're tripling down. They're obviously trying to make back some of the money. So they want to force people to continue to try to buy this game. But look, if you don't have enough players and nobody's interested, you're not going to get people now to buy it. There's too much out there to play. For God's sakes, EA, put it in EA Play
now.
now and let everybody have a shot at it. Okay. And see if you can revive it again, because there's a lot of content there. No doubt about it. Actually, I went through the season pass and I was looking through all the levels, did a nice job with it. Is it Call of Duty level? No, I wouldn't say it's Call of Duty level, but I would say that as a Battlefield player, there's plenty to like in there. And it's very well thought out how they're spacing it per level and all that kind of stuff, what you earn. So again, Battlefield 2042, if you're interested, it's playing great right now. Performance wise, it's playing really well right now. There is still a base in there of players. You can get into matches. Yes, there are going to be mixtures of bots in there sometimes, but for the most part, you're getting live players if you're playing the popular stuff, right? So great time to jump into Battle 2042 if you've already got it and you just got rid of it like me and Mav did for a while. Great time to jump back into it. And then played some actual fired up Call of Duty again, 2018, because, again, I hadn't played that. So I started going through the campaign and absolutely loving the campaign. Because this week we got the new trailer for the early access for Modern Warfare 2 if you pre-order the digital copy. So that got me kind of excited. So I jumped into the campaign. I had already played through a little bit of it, but I jumped into it some more. God, for all the stuff that we talk about, that the teams over there that do Call of Duty and for how long Call of Duty's just been kind of like whatever, it's Call of Duty. They still do a damn good campaign, man. They still know how to put something together, and it is beautiful. The characters, the animations, everything about it, the sound is just off the charts. So I'm having a good time in that as well. And then, like you said, Beth, hopped into Tribes of Midgard with you last night for the first time. It released on Wednesday,
what did you think of it?
Tuesday. Tribes of Midgard for $20. I think there's a lot there. There's a lot of game there. They've obviously added a ton since that game first launched on PC early access. And when it took off and it was a huge hit and everybody was streaming it, and then kind of people ran out of things to do in it and they kind of died off. Now that they've gotten it out on console, even you said, Mav, since you had played it first on PlayStation, but you of course couldn't find anybody to play with because it's only single player over there. It wasn't the same for you, but even you last night said that while we were playing, dude, I don't remember this. This is a lot more content in here. It looks like it's a much deeper game than it was. They added a mode to it so that it's not a time survival mode. So if you want to hop in with a group of friends and just build and fish and kind of play at your own pace now, you can do that. Mav and I jumped into the saga mode, which is the basic mode up front, which is you're on a timer. You got to get things built. You got to protect the village, all that good stuff. They got to protect the tree. But I liked it, man. I liked the art style. It was very accessible. They don't hold your hand.
No, not at all.
I played through the tutorial before you and I jumped in together. They tell you like the 5 basic things you need to know, and then you hop into the game and it's like, whoa, wait, how do I do this?
Yeah.
So you're learning on the fly, but it's considered a roguelite as well. They promote it that way, which means you just get stronger each time. So Mav and I played through the first time. We died when the big giant came, the Junto or whatever his name is, came to attack our town. We barely missed out on killing him, but he wound up destroying the tree. But the second time around, we had earned a starter pack, which starts you out with weapons, basic and basic armor. So therefore you don't spend time rebuilding those again in your second run. So that was really nice because then we got to go out and adventure a little bit further to start out, collected things a little bit faster, got upgraded. And, you know, when we ended last night, we had actually beat that first big giant coming to the town. So definitely a cool game. And again, for $20, like, look, you could do a lot worse with $20 than to pick up Tribes of Midgard, especially if you got some friends you can play with. Up to 8 players, I think, Matt, or 10. Is it 10?
I think it's 10. I think 10.
Yeah, it's up to 10 players in that game. So if you got a group of people, yeah, I'd go pick up Tribes of Midgard and try it out. It's a fun game. They got season pass going on. It doesn't cost anything. You just earn all this stuff. Obviously, they do have a shop. Obviously, there is an in-game currency where you can buy cosmetics, but nothing that's going to, no pay to win, I should say. So great game. So yeah, that's been my week in gaming. I had a great time with it, and otherwise, that's been it, man. We just living life over here and looking at all this gaming news that we had come down the pipe.
It feels like it's freaking E3 week, dude.
Kind of.
This last 3 days. I mean, it was already a lot of stuff happening yesterday, like crazy stuff, like out of the blue, random stuff, you know, with the PC launcher for PlayStation, a rumor. Then you got Death Stranding thing. Then you got the Gamescom announcements about games are going to be there. You know, look at delay announcements, and you got games going gold, and then now you got freaking acquisition again, not just any acquisition, like big time deal, something we had talked about before when we realized they were actually being sold, the rights to the whole Lord of the Rings empire, right? And all of that stuff, man, like been a lot of stuff going on, but it's just these announcements are coming out of left field right now, and it's freaking awesome, dude. It feels like last year a little bit, with like the rapidness of the news right now, because it's been dead news wise for like pretty big news for a while. You know, we had months this year without really we're like searching for topics, like what I'm like, oh, what is there to talk about? You know, people are making shows about like the history of gaming and stuff like that, because there's nothing relevant that week to talk about, right? So it's like,
well, speaking of which though, Matt, I should just throw this out here too for the chat. By the way, Mav and I have set our piece on the $70 games. We're not talking about that. Okay. We're not going to talk about that anymore. No. Mav has gone on rants. He's gone live by himself on special rants about the $70
early on. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's talking about it now, but we did this stuff early on. Now we brought it back up several times, but now that everybody's talking about it, so I feel like we accomplished the mission of bringing it.
there's more to talk about than $70 games right now. Okay, so you're not going to hear that discussion here. You got to go to Spaces, and you can hang out all day because literally they have 8-hour spaces on this nonsense. Yeah. So again, I don't get it, but we're not going to talk.
There's so much other stuff to talk about now.
There's a ton of stuff,
and that topic isn't really. That's not really relevant this week whatsoever. You know,
bro, it just continues on and on in this community. This community, for being a gaming community, sure does not like to game. Let me tell you that. I found that out more and more. Like, I didn't believe that. I didn't believe that line
when we first started and kind of came into
when we first started. Yeah. I thought everybody was playing games like we do and talking about games like we do. Just ain't true, man. There's a bunch of people here just get off on the attention, man, and it's very sad. But anyways, moving beyond that, man, you're right. This is because we're ramping up into the holiday season. This is where we are. Can you imagine if Microsoft Xbox wasn't handcuffed by this Activision Blizzard deal right now, what the news would be like? Like, they're handcuffed. We're not even getting big time stuff out of them, right? Well, I'm a conspiracy guy. Shout out to Everborn Saga, who is a gigantic conspircy guy.
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah, he has good fun ones though.
He has really good fun ones.
these are the Facebook conspiracy.
I'll admit I rolled my eyes at him the first time when he brought up the fact that maybe we're not getting very many releases at the end of this, the second half of this year. And maybe Microsoft and Xbox did a lot of this on purpose to stay out of the headlines and not act like they were very successful right now until this Activision Blizzard deal goes through.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what's funny, Mav, is we keep getting PC stuff now, but we're not getting any console news outside of the Game Pass announcements, which compared to last year haven't been a whole like big for us. It's been great because we got a lot coming in, but they haven't been like the big giant, kind of announcements that we had last year. I kind of starting to lean Everboard's way a little bit that maybe Microsoft is playing a little possum here and kind of holding back stuff and not doing as much as they could be doing to kind of stay out of the news and to kind of be low key, not brag about what they got coming up here. I don't know. I don't know. I just find it kind of funny.
It's possible because you saw, I think seeing the regulator questions and answers, from in Brazil kind of brought to light probably some of the same conversations going on in all those groups across the world, right? For all the different regulators groups. There's a million of them. It's probably that they got to deal with, right? But it feels like based on the language of the argument against them, which seems like only Sony is the only publisher that's actually trying to battle it right now, at least from those documents. It's coming to the fact of them trying to dominate the game industry with Game Pass, right? And that's kind of like Sony's argument right now. And like the more big time stuff, you're right, like and Everborn could be onto this. This was the first I was like, nah.
I rolled my
but
eyes.
now
I said, no way.
But now it's like I think you're right. I think shout out to him because he saw that before nobody else. I think he could be onto something there as well because we know that there's stuff, amazing stuff beyond this year. Maybe that's why they did the whole 12-month thing this year to begin with as well. You know what I mean? Because if they were to go and lay out like the gauntlet of all these things that they're doing, then that would be more arguing power, right? Against them. Right. So there could be something to that.
Like, I don't know. We'll get into it because we could talk some QuakeCon a little bit today too, about what we saw there, which for console people wasn't a whole lot. And there was some glaring, missing things at QuakeCon that was interesting to me. So we could definitely talk about that. But first, let me start here. We got so many amazing people in the chat. Let me do the shout outs as we always do, because we appreciate every single one of you. We've already got 60 people in here and you all are absolutely freaking amazing.
60 real people that love you all.
Real amazing people. That isn't always the thing around here either. It's something I didn't believe when I first started. But anyways, here we are today. UK Lad jumped in here first. RSJ fan, great to see you. Go Poe, always showing up to support. Talos Ray, you follow me around everywhere. You're everywhere in all the chats. Great to see you as well. Masshole 1977, always a pleasure, brother, for sure. We got Cajun Warcry in the house. Great to see you. Depka, how you doing? The beautiful and lovely Miss Kaitlin is here as always. Thank you again for all you do, Kaitlin, to help the shows on Fun Speculations channel. You are absolutely freaking amazing. You know that. Siki, awesome to see you. King Reaper 74G. Yo to you. Thank you for being here. Great to see you. Def Leopard in the house. Always great to see you, brother, as well. Andrew Cullinane, it wouldn't be a show without you, sir. Thank you for dropping in here. Tony Grasso, always dropping in to say hi. Thank you, sir. General Spartan 27, great to see you, sir. Who else we got in here? We got the actually one, Lore Master Jasper, and he is right, Mav. I didn't even mention it, but Game of the Year 2022 dropped today, and it's so big that nobody's talking about it now.
It's so big that nobody's talking about it.
They're all just playing the game straight through. Like people are going to be doing marathons of this game. OFK. We are.
Oh my God, it did. Oh shit, I should have live streamed this today.
I was going to DM you and ask you if you were going to live stream some PlayStation 5 today. We are OFK, man. Woo. But you know what? There's a million others probably streaming it right now. So you would just be one of a million, man. It won't even matter. So We Are OFK is out for everybody with the PlayStation 5. Listen, Shane, great to see you, sir. You know what it is. Calarie, great to see you. As always, dropping in every Thursday night and saying hi. The one, the only, the spooky Sprocket, now known as Spooky the Breathtaking Gamer, is in here. Spooky, you know, brother, all love and respect, man. Great to see you. Corey C, what is going on? He said, what's up, Pong and Mav? What's up to you?
What up?
We're having a great time. We're having a great time tonight. What else we got in here? We got Shizno Elite. Again, thank you for going back to your old name, sir. That's how I know you. That's how I always know you. Hey, brother from another I Steal Rain dropping in here. That's right, my brother. I'm going to see you very shortly, sir, on Saturday morning for sure, if not before then. So great to see you, Steele. Thank you for being in here. Who else we got Andy Cruz dropping on in here. Have the updates been good on Battlefield? Yes, sir, Andy. They have been very good. The game is looking crispy and it plays very, very well now. Unbelievable difference from the beginning, for sure. Why so serious? What's up? What's going on? Great to see you in here. It's Timmy. It's Timmy always dropping in here. Great to see you, sir. As always. Who else? God damn, this chat is just like on fire, man.
It is.
You guys are just awesome. Oh, we got Omi Tony in the house, as always, too, saying hi. What up? What do you say? Would you imagine? I must have jinxed myself reading Halo the Flood. Basement flooded this week. Shit. The Redfall preview made my day much better. I'm assuming I added the day in there, but that's what I'm saying. Made my day much better. So hyped. Yes, sir, we are hyped, and we're going to talk about the Redfall as well, because Mav actually did a live reaction to that today while I was at work. So I definitely want to get his thoughts on it. But man, I'm sorry to hear about your basement. Hope that goes well. I've been through that myself. It sucks. All right. So I get it, man. Black Card A, what's going on? Always dropping in to show the love. Thank you so much. What else we got here? Did I miss anybody? Oh, of course. Retro Nerd in here. Vic the Click. The brothers in here as well. We got Infinite Umbra. Hope you're feeling better, Infinite. I know you were battling the pandy for a minute there. I hope things are getting smoother now. But great to see you in here. Thanks for dropping in and spending some time with us, man. Appreciate you always. Who else we got in here? I think I've caught up with everybody. God dang, you guys are just going to town on this chat, man. Holy cow. Man, the fifth Horseman V. How could a fifth? Oh, I knew the fifth Horseman had to be in here.
3-bit's face showed up.
Oh, 3-bit. 3-bit, Mr. I work like 8 hours a day, guys. They work me really hard. Yeah, that was in our DMs. That was in our DMs. Yeah. Yeah. We go. He goes, yeah, man, we're getting worked really hard. 3-bit, what hours you working? Like 9 to 5. Like, oh.
You wouldn't believe it. This 9 to 5 stuff is like a nightmare, guys. It's like, whew.
They expect me to work 40 hours. It's crazy. Love you, brother. Hey, Nix, thank you, brother, for dropping in here as well. Always. Oh, 3-bit's gonna get me.
Yeah.
He might do a revenge video on me that never shows up now. I'm really scared now.
We'll see it never.
Awesome to see every single one of you. Thank you for all being in here. Man, I want to get your thoughts on a couple of things. We didn't talk about this beforehand, so I'm gonna kind of call your number here real quick, but just a couple quick thoughts on some other stuff that we saw this week. Very small, but outside of everything else dropping this week, Mav, what we're also getting finally is some updates on games and starting to see some stuff. And two in particular this week. One, I talked about my opening, but let me start here with Gotham Knights. Did you happen to get a chance to watch the Red Hood video that they showed where you could have, because you can play, for people who don't know, 2 different builds. For people who don't know, in Gotham Knights, they're going to allow you to play the same character. But they brought out a video showing how different the builds can be, because they're really showing up the skill tree aspect and all that. And you can really create 2 different types of characters, even if they're the same, basic character. And the video that they had was Red Hood. So, Bev, if you got a chance to see that, did you see some more stuff? Because honestly, for me, that Red Hood video was probably the best I've seen Gotham Knights look from my aspect. And again, I'm not interested in Gotham Knights. I'm not going to be picking up day one, I said if it drops in the Game Pass, I'll certainly play it, obviously. But I'll be waiting on that game probably for a sale down the road, maybe deep sale, something like that. But I will say that Red Hood play definitely looked the best that I've seen it. Just as far as the fighting goes, as far as showing off those skill trees and those specials that you can use and how different they are. What'd you think, man? What'd you think of that one?
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, it was two like higher level builds that were like very different from each other, and they kind of showcased like the differences between them, and that even if two people pick the same character, they can be completely different from one another, right? And that was the biggest highlight. I've been up on Gotham Knights the whole time. Now, like there's a lot of people that are down because the animations weren't looking good, all that kind of stuff. I honestly think a lot of the earlier footage we've seen this year with these trailers and these gameplay overviews, I saw what I expected, except for the player that was controlling was missing a lot of moves and combos and stuff. And there was very generic like combat at the time because of just what they were doing, not because it wasn't, nothing I saw was detracting me. It just was like, oh, this is like basic stuff that they're showing here. Like, and this showcase not basic stuff and higher level gameplay and stuff like that. So one of the things that people always threw me off with the complaints with Gotham Knights was people complaining about how the slide mechanic, like the magnetism to the enemies, right? But that's like an Arkham game staple, right? So for me, the combat with this is like purely Arkham based, right? And maybe slight tweaks here and there because there's different characters, obviously, right? But it's gonna have skill trees and all these different things to add to that because it's got to have like a grind component to it as well and all these things. So it's shaping up exactly how I hoped it would. I'll be honest with you, dude. Like, and maybe people had been anticipating this is like going to be another like Arkham City, Arkham Knight game, and judging it based against those games, right? And like expecting that kind of like cinematic aspect. You know what I mean? Because like that game has a lot of cinematic cues with how they twist the camera around to scenes, and you hear Batman's voice coming on, and then you got the enemy chatter, and it's just very like well done in those regards. But this is more of like a RPG-esque grind type game with the story and stuff, but it's based around co-op play. And even the first time we saw it, which also got people surprised, was they even had like the hit numbers on the enemies and stuff, like, right? So that may be something you can turn on and off, I'm assuming. But yeah, dude, I'm sold on this game, dude. Like 100%. It's actually probably my most anticipated game this year now because everything else has been delayed out of this year. Yeah, I was looking forward to it already. You know, like really, it was high up on my list. But everything else got moved out, so it's like really the top game on my list for 2022 right now. I'm 100% sold. I'm gonna be playing the crap out of it, dude. I'll be Robin. I'll be the one nobody wants to. I saw you tweet that. I'll be the one nobody wants to pick. I actually like Robin. I'll admit it. You know, I'm a Robin fan. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it, dude. What about you? Did you have a chance to check those out?
Yeah, I did. And like I said, it was probably the best that I've seen it look. Again, to somebody who's not interested, it definitely did a much better presentation. Maybe it was because they were showing off higher level stuff, right? High level characters, with different builds. But I really like the look of Red Hood's different abilities and what he was able to do. And I thought that the combat looked more like Arkham than some of the previous ones did. Like you said, maybe it was just the players doing the demo. Maybe it was just the person.
It was like somebody they hired to make a video that, you know what I mean? It's almost how it came across.
Yeah. So I think that it didn't do it any justice, but I think this time around it looked much better. It looks much smoother. I love, because even though I never finished the Arkham series, because I wound up just getting bored after a while playing it, and it's weird for me to do that. But I always loved the dance, the battle, the combat was the best part. I loved getting down and dirty, especially when you got into a nice flow with a group of group of enemies spawning on you. it was always great to get in that nice flow. It felt satisfying when you got into it, right? And that's what I always liked about the dance, as Steele and I always call it, the Arkham dance.
Yeah.
So I think it looks better and better. And I think, like I said, this video was the best one to me personally. So I definitely was impressed with that. Shout out to Bernard Miller, John Wolf, and Razor NZ all dropping in here. Sorry if I didn't see you guys earlier, but I just saw you guys now. Great to have you in here. The other one, Matt, that popped up this week was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. They announced early access for anybody who pre-orders the digital copy anywhere. So it's not PlayStation exclusive. You get to play the campaign a week early if you pre-order it digitally. I thought this was a huge move, number one, by Activision, because it's going to give people who are strictly Call of Duty multiplayer people that never really jump into the campaign. This is going to allow them to actually jump into the campaign. I think this was a smart move on Activision's part to do this. And again, it wasn't the longest trailer, but the clip, there was new footage within that trailer that they were showing off. They showed off a lot of different environments, a lot of different spots that you're going to be going to. And I was freaking impressed, Mav. I mean, again, this is the most hyped I've been for a Call of Duty game, and I can't remember probably since World War II. The last one before Cold War that I actually bought day one was World War II, because I thought they did a great job going back to World War II, and I was kind of excited for it at that point. But this is the real Modern Warfare 2. This is looking awesome, and the campaign is looking spectacular. Some of the scenes they had in that early access trailer were off the charts. I mean, so again, I'm playing through the 2019, whatever one it is, campaign right now, and it looks amazing. I mean, it looks fantastic, but I can't imagine with the new engine, upgraded engine, what this is actually going to turn out to be like, the details in this game. Did you happen to catch that? You had any more thoughts on Modern Warfare 2?
Yeah, dude, it's like what I was hoping it would be. You know, Modern Warfare 2019 is the best Call of Duty game I've played since probably Modern Warfare 3, be honest with you. And Infinity Ward has proved with that game that they are the top of the line Call of Duty developer again, in my personal opinion. I know there's some people that prefer the Treyarch gameplay style, and for a while Treyarch was on top when Infinity Ward took that big hit, when you know, all of the Vincent Pella and Jason West and Robert Bowling and all those guys left Infinity Ward, and, you know, and Vincent Pella, Jason West left and formed Respawn, and they brought a lot of the talent with them from Infinity Ward. And then Infinity Ward was just a name at that point with a talented team there, but not a lot as much direction. And their next game was Call of Duty Ghost, right? Which it's still like a decent game, but like for a lot of people, it's like one of the worst Call of Duties, right? And
oh yeah, for sure. I still think it had some great maps. Though.
Yeah,
the hotel map, the motel map. Oh my god, I love that map.
Anyways, and there was like, and then you saw them with the next iteration, like take a step up, and then, you know, by the time that this game came out, this was like Call of Duty's like come back to prominence. Now you've seen a step back, in my opinion, the last two games between Treyarch, which maybe is not their fault, to be honest with you, because they had to help out on Sledgehammer's game as well right before. So they took a step back, and then also with Vanguard as well, which is the game that they ended up having to, you know, but this is the year. Now this is the follow-up to that 2019 Call of Duty game, and they've had 3 years to work on it, right? Yep. So if they took the improvements that they made then and go even further, I think it's going to be special. I think it could be the Modern Warfare 2 to this Modern Warfare that the original Modern Warfare 2 was to the original Modern Warfare, if that makes any sense to people. But like, I really have high hopes for this game. I think this is going to be the most next gen feeling shooter probably that we've got, as well as far as visuals go, at least for the campaign, right?
Yep.
And I'm absolutely looking forward to it, dude. I'm pumped with that. You know, that Modern Warfare style gunplay and gameplay is more up my alley, right? So especially over the more run and gun esque Black Ops games, right? I'm more of a Modern Warfare guy, so I'm definitely excited.
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great October release, and for people not paying attention, if you watch the shows for your news, I will throw this out there too: grain of salt, dump truck assault, whatever the case may be. But supposedly the Warzone 2.0 date was leaked as well. But I would take this as a giant grain of salt. But Warzone 2.0 may be coming November 16th. So only a couple weeks after launch of actual Modern Warfare mainline. So
I just have a request while we're putting that out there, right? They have Warzone 2 coming in November. They got Call of Duty Modern Warfare in October. Fix the install systems for this for these next 2 games, please.
Yes, please.
This whole mess you've had with the last several games, get rid of that nonsense completely. Scrap it. Give me 3 installs, okay?
Yep.
Warzone, multiplayer, campaign.
Correct.
Separate it into those 3 things. And that's all I'm asking. Please. You got Warzone, multiplayer, and campaign. I don't want any damn compatibility packs in there. HD texture packs and stuff, that's fine. But like, just if you got a Series X, if it's the next gen version of this game,
have them all installed at the same time.
Pack. Please. I mean, come on, guys. Let's go. It's just simplify that shit because it is a nightmare, right?
Yes.
Please. That's a plea to them. Thank you.
That is a plea. It is a great plea, though. I've said the same thing. Please do not force me to install everything like you have been. Give me options, please.
The Spec Ops packs, there's 3 of those things. There's 3 multiplayer
and they
packs,
don't download in a row. They don't download the way they're supposed to.
No,
that's the major
broken.
problem. It's totally broken. So hopefully they fixed it with the new setup. Hopefully this time around they got it straight. Moving on from that, Mav. We are still in delay season, Mav. So let's get everybody the news on delay season real quick here.
Delays.
Can
we delay this segment to the end of the show?
No, let's get out of the way now. Let's not end the show badly. We're gonna end the show right.
Let me check Twitter real quick just to make sure, because these delays are flying. I want to make sure there's no more delays just announced.
Yeah, no shit.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so let's start with a small one first. But an indie title that was expected this year that a lot of people, myself included, were excited about. Mav, I think it was on your list. Every time we saw it at the shows, we were like, damn, that looks so cool. Planet of Lana was expected to be out in 2022. The developers came out this week and said, not so fast. Spring 2023 now. So that again got moved to 2023. Please don't let it be February. Again, Mav and I are both in the same boat here. Delay your game, get it right. Whatever you got to do is fine. But February is a traffic jam right now. Do not drop anything else into February. Please, whatever you do right now. But Planet of Lana, Mav, are you kind of disappointed in that one? It's an indie title, but still.
I mean, the more stuff that gets pushed out of 2022 into 2023, I'm not disappointed for the game itself. I'm thinking hey, that's what's best for the game. It just means more things, and it's not even about 2022 for me. It's about things that are going to be compiled into this huge amount of stuff all in a short span of time, and I don't want to miss out on stuff. You know what I mean? So, that's the only thing is when things are getting delayed into 2023 now, it's that's a bad time to release now, because we were looking at the list of games releasing in the first 6 months of 2022, and my God, it's the most jam-packed filled list I've ever seen for a 6-month period ever that I can think of. And the thing, I mean, maybe it's not going to stay that way. I'm thinking some of these are going to move off into later, but I don't want to put too much of that energy out there because I don't want them to move the ones that I want the most, right? So it's interesting. I mean, I think it's obviously the game needed to be delayed because it would have been a great time to release this year, right? So it is what it is. You know what I mean?
It is. Yeah, no, I mean, again, we're both going to be fine. We have plenty to play. I got more to play than I know what to do with right now. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. The Ascent DLC just dropped too, and Steele and I are talking about jumping into that again as well and playing that. on top of everything else, we got HD, we got the Commandos 3 HD remake dropping in at the end of this month. Again, not for everybody, but for me, it's awesome. I got tons of games. But again, like you said, Matt, the whole thing is that first half of 2023 is getting stacked. Like I said, February is a complete traffic jam. Like
yeah.
We're not, I don't even know if we're gonna be able to keep up with the games dropping in February. It's gonna be utterly ridiculous and insane.
If you like to play a lot of genres, it's like,
yeah,
my God.
yeah, especially if you own more than one console too. Like if you own everything, I don't know how you're gonna decide. I could not decide. All right, so that was Planet Lana. Then we got the word that Evil West, which was supposed to be out this month, all of us were looking forward to it on Fun Speculation Channel. Like anybody who's watched the videos of Evil West, game is looking absolutely freaking incredible. This is a Wild West with futuristic kind of sci-fi stuff included in it, but it's bloody. It's gory. It is right up our alley. This is like 360 era type games where you're just dropping in and you're just blowing shit up and you're just killing everything on screen, right? That's what this game is like. And we found out that it's also co-op, which even makes it even a little bit better too. But we were all expecting that game this month. That got pushed, thankfully, not out of 2022. So November the 22nd, 2022. So 11/22/22, great date.
Yeah.
Evil West is coming.
Actually even better for that game, honestly, because it can maybe take advantage of some of this holiday hype, being one of the few big holiday games this year, right? Unless we have some more announcements coming, which we may, coming up. But anything that's not delayed into 2023, that's the first half of 2023, and it's moved into 2022 is like maybe a better thing for that game right now. So
no, and I'm happy. Flying Wild Hog's a great developer. Again, take your time, fix it, but I'm excited for Evil West. Evil West is definitely on my list. Looking great. Omi Tony, thank you, sir. For all you Neon Abyss fans out there, which I actually did put some hours into Neon Abyss. Obviously, not a ton, but I did put some hours into Neon Abyss. DLC also dropped yesterday. So if anybody's out there playing Neon Abyss that did not know the DLC dropped, there you go. DLC. Thank you, Omi Tony. I appreciate you. And then the one today, man. Again, it seems like we can't go without a day without getting one of these Twitter drops with the letter form factor. And you just know what it is. The minute you see a
company letterhead post from a studio, it's a delay.
It looks like you got an email on Twitter. You know it's not good. Okay, so today was High on Life. Okay, High on Life, which again dropping in Game Pass day and date. This one came out of nowhere. We had no clue this was happening until the showcase. This was one of the big surprises. Looks absolutely ridiculously good. This is gonna be a great game. So we got that one today, and that one got delayed. Not out of 2022 again, but until December the 13th, 2022. So High on Life still on track for this year. But that's going to be one that we all jump into.
Again, probably better for that game because it was jam-packed with like 3 or 4 other games right there together. What was it originally? October 20 something or
something? Six almost a 6-week delay.
Right.
So October.
I remember when we were looking at October, there was like between like the October like 20th and October like 28th or something, there was like literally like 6 or 7 big releases, right? So this maybe even be better for that game as well. But I do want to apologize to the entire gaming community because what was it, like a week or 2 ago, we're joking around when all these games are getting delayed.
That's right. You jinxed.
Warhammer Dark Tide's getting delayed, High on Life's getting delayed. I was joking. Because, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking possibility. Like you never know, right? With as many games are getting delayed, the point was nothing really surprising at this point. But people were like, "Hey, don't even say it, Mav. Don't even put that energy out there." And here we go. But it was not delayed to 2023. So that's still a win, right? And it'll get out before that other avalanche of titles coming early 2023. So absolutely awesome.
Awesome news. For sure. So All right, man. So we got the delay season out of the way. We got the bad stuff out of the way. So let's hop into some of this craziness that's been going on this week.
Whew, what a whirlwind.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. Let's go here first, man. Let's not get into the big one yet. Let's go here first. PC Game Pass on their Twitter feed decided to tease a little something, Mav. And they thought they were going to be cute. And they thought maybe they already knew that in a community of gamers like this, and a community of people who sit on Twitter and the internet all day, that you really can't slide things past them. And if you try to give a hint, if you think that hint's like, hey, it'll take them a while to catch on to what this is, you should probably go back to the drawing board and go even less of a hint.
Or just don't even give a hint.
Hey, right. Or don't even give a hint at what you're doing. But they decided to change their avatar this week. PC Game Pass did. And put up a simple environmental picture of some nice green, rocky terrain. And they thought it was cloudy in the background, nice gray, overcast sky. It literally took somebody, 5 minutes?
5 minutes, something like that. Yeah.
To find the exact picture in the game map, the exact picture. But what's even crazier about this, Mav, it's a game that another one of these that nobody thought we'd be seeing anywhere near Xbox at all. Now, again, from what we know, it's just going to be Xbox Game Pass PC. Okay, not on console. It doesn't make sense as to why it would be on console. But everybody figured it out, Mav, and that game is Death Stranding. Yes, that's right. The pizza delivery simulator, the UPS delivery simulator, the walking simulator. I don't know how many other adjectives people have had for it, but yet still one of the best looking games. Again, I haven't played it, but watching videos every time I see something from Death Stranding, it's the Decima engine is ridiculous. It is gorgeous. Like, I can't believe how good this game looks. And again, not everybody's Kojima fan. Not everybody was a fan of Death Stranding, but it still did really well. They released the director's cut to PC. It's coming to Game Pass. Tom Henderson, again, everybody was guessing that's what it was. People found the exact spot, so it kind of became more of like 100% for sure. This is coming. Tom Henderson, again, great Twitter member, does a lot of good work in this community, journalist. He came out today and did say that Death Stranding is coming to PC Game Pass, and we will get the official announcement tomorrow. So they're supposed to drop this news tomorrow. But Mav, Sony IP. Now, for people wondering, Sony published it on the consoles.
Yes.
Sony published it on the consoles. However, this was before Sony had their PC shit together, before they bought Nixxes, before they had the in-house wherewithal to do PC ports. So 505 Games actually did the PC version and published it. That's why this is happening. So Phil and his team, again, whether this deal was worked long ago, or whether this just recently happened with them signing Kojima, or whether this has a little bit something to do with the Activision Blizzard back and forth wrestling match that we've seen down in Brazil, whatever the case may be, Phil and his team found another way, Mav, to find a loophole to bring what was a Sony exclusive and all. Again, we say Xbox exclusive, even though we know it's on PC, but they're getting it into the Xbox ecosystem. Even if it is just on Game Pass for PC, it's still in the Xbox ecosystem, and they can promote it as part of Xbox Ultimate, or as part of Game Pass Ultimate, Xbox Ultimate, Game Pass Ultimate. Man, how big a deal is this, brother?
Absolutely amazing. I want to also give a shout out to Alvin real quick. And Alvin said a PC Game Pass updated again today, and there's more Death Stranding picks, the profile pick. Right on. Thanks, Alvin, member for 3 months. Appreciate you, Alvin. Who else? I want to say hi to Naked HD. That's for everybody in the chat. That's actually Far Q. You know him as Far Q. You know, like the guy with a million
other
accounts
names
and a million names that he can make in a minute. Right on, dude. It's awesome.
We appreciate you, Naked HD. Send some of your subs our way, please. Thank you.
Yeah, Death Stranding, man. it's a big deal, dude, because Xbox has found a way to roundabout get games onto ecosystem that were exclusive games on other platforms. And this is second time now. I mean, they did this before with MLB The Show, right? That one they got on console, right? Going around Sony and going straight to MLB for publishing on Xbox. And it's crazy because you see that game in Game Pass on Xbox and it's not even in PS Plus on PlayStation, you know? So in a way, they're like circumventing some of these money hatting deals or exclusivity deals and stuff, and figuring other ways around it to get around some of the contracts and things like that. And I think, you know, with also one aspect of this is Kojima and their cloud game that he announced he's going to be working with Xbox on, which is official now because he actually said it himself, right? This is him stepping into that ecosystem, that whole cloud initiative, right? With his game now. So I think it's something that Kojima may have been interested in, and 505 publishing it makes a lot of sense because I think they've done several different Game Pass deals with Xbox, and this is just hey, we would like that game in the PC Game Pass. I mean, we can't get it on console because you're only publishing on PC, but let's do it. And Sony had to have seen this coming at some point. Right. You know what I mean? Like, but it's pretty awesome. I haven't finished this game. I'm actually really early on. I have been playing it with PS Plus Extra actually. And you're right, man. It is freaking gorgeous, dude. Like, yeah, like mind-blowingly beautiful game. The music, the scenery, everything is super relaxing and stuff. And I do enjoy it. I know that a lot of people make fun of this game for being a walking sim and, you know, delivering packages and stuff like that. But like, it's impressive as hell when you play it. And if you got a solid PC out there, right? You may be onto something like that you weren't expecting if you launch this game for the first time, you know, be like, whoa, that I wasn't expecting to see something that looks that good, right? I'm excited for Kojima's future with the ecosystem too, because I think this is like one of the first steps with that. Now he's had games in Xbox before, obviously Metal Gear Solid 5's on Xbox, you know. Yeah. But so it's not like it's not like Xbox fans have never played a Kojima game, which some people out there seem like that's a thing. Right, like, oh, Kojima games are only on PlayStation. That's like a mental thing that some people have. It's really not the case. Actually, there's several things you can get on Xbox, but it still have always had that association. And the more marketing and the more things you see like this from his IP is good for his brand of games in general. So I think it's going to grow more kind of awareness to maybe his future game now as well that he's going to be coming out with. So. I wonder if potentially it could be some kind of similar type of game to Death Stranding. We don't
social connectivity, right? That's gonna be the underlying kind of similarity. Is gonna be that social inner. You know, that's what he was testing with Death Stranding, right? He was testing a lot of things that he had in his head that he wants to do in the future, but on a grander scale. Hence why he went to Stadia, because he thought their cloud services would be best for his vision. Obviously, that failed because of Stadia. But now that he's with Xbox, yes, ma'am. I think that a lot has to do with this. And Shizno, you're probably closer to correct than any other guess, is that Kojima may have full control over the PC version. Since they developed it in-house and 505 just published it, it's certainly possible that Kojima, under his contract, can't touch the console version. Obviously, that's owned by Sony. But at the end of the day, the PC version was his call to make. And obviously having this deal with Kojima, that's why I threw it out there, that maybe this was a part of that once they got that partnership signed, that this was kind of part of the agreement was like, hey, we're going to do this. Yeah, you bring Death Stranding over to PC Game Pass, get another audience, people that missed out, maybe people that just didn't buy it on PC because they've heard things, whatever the case may be. give everybody a chance. Again, no risk. Download it, try it out for yourself. And Kojima was probably on board with it at this point. Now that it's probably capped out its sales for the most part, why not? Why not throw it in the PC Game Pass? Get some money. Might have just been part of the bigger deal with Kojima, worked in there as part of that compensation package as well. So, whatever the case may be, I think it's great for Kojima. It's great to open up another audience, another chance for more people to, try it out. Again, maybe people listened to the naysayers and said, I have no interest in that. Now it shows up in PC Game Pass. They open up PC Game Pass and they go, let's download it. Let's try it. Let's give it a go like we do all the time in Game Pass. I think it's perfect. And I loved it. I was just shocked. Again, like everybody, I never thought again, you never say never. Only cis deal in absolutes. But at the same time, it's amazing when something like this happens, because it's in 2022, the golden age, like you talked about, Mav, with MLB the Show showing up on Xbox. It's things like this that are slowly cracking open the door that we always talk about, that Xbox and Microsoft truly want the biggest, most open ecosystem possible. And they want everybody to be included. And they're going to try their damnedest to get it done. So this is awesome. Love to hear it as well. And then Mav, you brought up something too that we had forgotten about talking about in the backside of things too.
Yeah.
Another little thing this week as well. The Snitch back. Of course, Snitch, famous on Twitter, has gotten a high percentage of his stuff right. Of course, people always like to point out the things that he may have gotten wrong, but overall, he's been pretty reliable when it comes to gaming rumors. And that comes from everywhere, not just Xbox, not PlayStation and Nintendo as well, and PC. He put out a picture this week, Mav, that got people stirred up. Obviously, it was a picture from the cover of Dune, or one of the scenes from Dune, and then he had put some hair over the top of it, which looked like female hair on the character, but definitely hinting that something Dune was coming soon.
Yeah,
I really haven't thought a whole lot of this outside of in our DMs when we kind of went back and forth with it, and I was trying to figure out what he could be, why he put the hair on it.
So the image was interesting because it was like the Dune image, and then it was flipped.
Yes,
and then it turns out I think it was N64 Josh actually pointed this out. He pointed out, it was actually the Snitch's hair from his profile picture that he cut out and put on the character. So it's the main character, Timothy Chalamet's character. I forget his name in the movie, but it's got the Snitch's hair on it. He's walking through the dunes. What do you think this could? There's been rumors around. Now the reason the way this lined up was crazy, because this happened almost it was on an hour after I saw another tweet from, I think it was somebody Idle Sloth had retweeted somebody or something that had kind of been putting out together that there's a lot of interesting tweets coming out from In Exile about Dune. They keep tweeting about Dune for some reason, right? Well, also just Dune's an amazing movie, and they just could be fans of Dune. Just could be completely coincidence. But that tweet from the Snitch came shortly after that other thing that I had seen. So it my mind was oh my God, is In Exile making a Dune game? You know what I mean? Is this who knows, guys? But there's a lot of different potential for things out there. We do know there's a Dune strategy game coming out, another RTS, a grand strategy. The Snitch confirmed it wasn't
anything related to that.
Right.
He did confirm that. So
this is something different, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we're gonna get an announcement soon of something. It's a big IP right now. They got more movies coming, and the last movie was a very big success. So it would make sense for people with how big IP and content is right now to piggyback off of that.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Like I said, I was trying to go through my thoughts and try to figure out what this could potentially be. If it is In Exile, and they've been very cheeky about posting constantly about Dune, if they've got a second team, because we already know that they they've been working on something now for what, 3 years, almost 4 years now.
But remember, they have more than one project.
Yeah, they've got more than one project. So if this is like that second team working on something, you know, again, the only thing I could think of would be like a Dune set in like the Wasteland engine, which would be really cool. Like one of their,
my God, like, dude. Yes.
Right. One of their heavy story-based, decision-based, RPGs. But Dune, I think that would be freaking phenomenal. I mean, I could definitely see how that would work out. But yeah, I think that it's time to strike now with Dune, because like you said, they've already in production with the second movie. So that's going to be coming at some point here. So if somebody's going to be working on this IP, now is the time to be doing it for sure. So it'll be interesting if we hear something, if we get a tease from something, especially with the way Microsoft and Xbox are playing their cards very close to the vest right now. If it is an Exile, that'd be kind of crazy to come out of the blue with a teaser for Dune, but it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense too.
I'm be excited really no matter who's making a Dune game, because like it's probably going to be something I'm going to be interested in. Right. Being
exactly.
Straight.
I agree. Wholeheartedly. Oh man, we are just flying through these topics tonight, man.
There's lots of little things. I mean, but they're topics that like on a non-busy gaming news week, we could spend like an hour and a half talking about.
Sure, but they're cool. I mean, they're just fun right now. So speaking of, let's do this. Let's do QuakeCon real quick here. So QuakeCon came, and it's still going on. I think it goes on for 3 days. I want to say, Mav. I think
I believe so.
It goes through the weekend.
And they had like a stream that lasted all day today too. It might even still be live right now. I'm not even sure.
Yeah, and this kind of goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning. Maybe Xbox is being very quiet on the console side of things right now, because look, we have heard there's been a big push. You know, they threw the Quake remaster at us, which, you know, again was a pretty simple remaster, but they got it back on console to kind of get interest up. They've been pushing Quake again on PC. They did it today for sure by announcing a bunch of games coming to Game Pass, PC Game Pass, not just Quake, but a bunch of different games. So they've been pushing this for a long time. id is working on something. And there's been rumors flying around Quake reboot, something happening, because they want to bring Quake back. And all this lines up. And so everybody was kind of expecting at QuakeCon today that we were either going to get the Quake reboot or we're going to get the Quake 2 remaster announced as well. Now, there's more days to come, but this is kind of the opening day where they kind of talk about all the big stuff. And there were some rumors leading up to it that some stuff may be dropping into Game Pass. Well, it turns out it was just PC Game Pass. We didn't get anything for consoles at all, outside of updates to Elder Scrolls Online, of course, Fallout 76 updates as well. Both really cool, both thriving. Fallout 76 is definitely coming back in its own way. They do have again, it's not as big as like ESO. It's not as big as Sea of Thieves or any Grounded even, but it's still there. And Fallout 76 still continues to get updates, which is great. So they gave us all this news, but PC Game Pass, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, Quake 4, Wolf 3D, Elder Scrolls Legend Battlespire, the Elder Scrolls Adventures Redguard, and you also get all the champions and Quake champions unlocked, and then free on the MS store, Microsoft Store, is the Elder Scrolls Arena / Daggerfall and Quake Champions. So all of this on the PC side. So we got,
and there was actually even more. They even had Hexen.
They brought out Hexen too. That's right. That's right. Yep, Hexen. They had a whole nother list too. Yeah, I remember that. That came out after the fact, but Hexen was in that list. So they did all this for PC, man, but nothing on the console side whatsoever. No announcements whatsoever. Hell, people were even asking, why isn't Quake 4 backwards compatible at this point, right?
Yeah.
Why is it not? I mean, I've got Quake 4 here for the 360. I still got my 360 hooked up. I've fired up Quake 4 and played with it. Still a great game. It shows its age, but it's a great game. But man, why is that not backwards compatible? But here they are giving it to PC. So
I think right now for them, it's probably like a priority thing with I think PC Game Pass was really behind where Game Pass is like on consoles, right?
Sure it is.
So I think that priority wise and resources, they've been trying to play some catch up this year with PC Game Pass and try and get it more up to snuff because compared to the console version, it's not drawn in as many subscribers, right? So if they can get that PC Game Pass really clicking and get that PC market really interested in it, then you're going to see another explosion of consumers. Hence that Riot Games deal that they did, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're doing a lot of different stuff right now for PC Game Pass and trying to expand that. And I think that's why. I mean, I think they should have also done some stuff with console as part of this, for sure. But I think they're just trying to tackle one. That's one thing that Xbox does. I've noticed, especially like under Phil Spencer, is they have like this task list, right? And they did it with back compat, and they did it with FPS boost, and they do it with, like res boost on some games. They do it like these adding even more back compat later after that. Then they go and they have like these checklists of things, and it's like, okay, we're gonna focus on this now. Then they're kind of okay, we're done with that. Then they're like, we're gonna focus on this now. Okay, well, we've done that. Now we're gonna focus on this. And right now they seem like they're in this PC Game Pass focus right now, right? As far as because they realized that was not up to par really for what they want out of that service, I think. And there's a lot of stuff coming to Game Pass on console as well. So I don't think it's necessarily like, oh wow, it's like they're not paying attention to console gamers anymore, which some people are like run away with. But like, I would like to see some of those games like added into the console that aren't there now. I think that they could do it. And I'm wondering if it's potentially just easier to do that with the PC versions for some reason.
Sure.
And some of those games aren't on console, right?
Yeah,
and
for sure.
And then so that way they don't necessarily take or detract anything away from the teams working on whatever projects they're already working on, right?
Yeah, I agree with you for a lot of the titles. It's just Quake 4 should be backwards compatible. Like, I mean, maybe there's some technical issue that, obviously that Ronald and his team could not overcome because he talked about it, right? I would imagine if they could do it, it would be there. Like, I don't understand why it wouldn't be. But I just, God, it would just been nice, even a teaser, because Quake,
at least make it playable in the cloud.
If you're gonna come back, at least something like that. Look, Quake deserves a comeback. Quake deserves to get a new iteration. It deserves to get the Doom treatment for sure. Quake is the original fast twitch competitive shooter. Okay, I don't even know if I can play Quake anymore like I did back when I was younger. It's one of the most hardcore of all time, but it deserves to come back for a whole new audience, a new generation, and for all of us old heads that want to try to jump back into it. Quake's got a lot of potential there. So I guess just with all the push, even if we just gotten a teaser to announce that they are doing a Quake reboot, that id's a part of it, or id's doing it, man, that would have just, that the internet would have been on fire with that id was making a new Quake, right? It would have just been so cool today to have that, but we didn't. And yes, Alvin, good to see you, brother. Hexen's IP is still owned by Activision. However, id published it back in the day. So I think that because id published it, they probably still have the PC publishing rights to it at this point. So they could probably put it, again, they're not doing anything to the game. It's the original game. So they're just dropping it in, right? So that's probably what happened there. Again, don't quote me. Don't know, but yes, Activision does still own the Hexen IP outright. Correct. You are correct there. But again, Quake has got, man, can you imagine Quake showing up at some of the competitions now, like the esports, Mav?
Yeah.
Quake had esports before there was official esports. Okay. It's a lot like Halo back in the day too, but Quake goes back further, and Quake had these high level competitions going on before there was anything like we have nowadays. I can't imagine what it would be like if they could duplicate what they had back then in today's technology. Like, it would be insane. So I'm just excited to hear about it coming back. That's why I was kind of like, man, really? Come on, you guys, give us a tease, please. Let's do this.
Yeah.
But it wasn't all not console today at QuakeCon, Mav, because we did get a brand new sit down with the Redfall developers from Arcane Austin. Of course, Redfall was supposed to be dropping this year. We all know this. It got delayed till next year. It is in my firm belief, and I think Mav, you're on board that Redfall will release before Starfield. So we're
That's what I'm
expecting Redfall
guessing. Yeah.
early. I think this ramp up kind of shows us that. I think, again, God, I hope it's not February. Please let it be January or March, but please don't let it be February. But whatever, no matter what, I'm playing it day one because I'm hyped for Redfall. But we got a brand new sit down with the devs from Arcane Austin today during QuakeCon, and it lasted for, I think, like, was it a half hour, 45 minutes?
Well, it was slated as a 30-minute show,
Yeah.
but then it only ended up lasting like 22 minutes.
Okay. I was at work, so I was in and out. I was listening to it, but obviously not full.
Yeah.
I know you actually co-streamed and had a live reaction. I'm really curious because I haven't really been able to hear your reactions to this, but you hit me up in the DMs and you said, bro, Redfall. So I know you're excited for this. And you have been, of course. It's one of the big first party titles we were expecting. We're both on board with co-op multiplayer, and of course this game can be played as a single player. They built it from the ground up as a single player. But I'm curious, since you co-streamed it and you were paying a lot closer attention to me, what details, new details, or what things that the devs talked about today that caught your ear versus, we did get a presentation during the showcase, the Bethesda Xbox, or the Xbox Bethesda showcase. And of course we got a little bit even after that on the second day as well. What today stood out for you, Mav? What was the big things?
I think what stood out for the most part, like there was a lot of little, the footage they showed was kind of weird because like they had a lot of stuff we've seen before, and then mixed in there would be little segments like I don't recognize that, right? And because they would cut to them talking and then they cut to the game again. But there was so many little different sections of this gameplay that I've seen, and the way that they were talking about this stuff and with the game on the screen at the same time, it put things in more perspective and context more than anything else, right? And how they're talking about it's an open world and how they kind of alluded to how big it is, but it's like big with like within walking distance, and it's not like vehicles big, right? Is what they kind of use, but it's they compared it to the space station from Prey, right? And showed the size there. And it was like, wow, okay, it's pretty enormous, right? And the other aspects was just the gameplay, like segments and the abilities that they were showing, and then the way they were talking about the enemies. They spent a lot of time talking about the vampires themselves, right? And the enemies in the world and the story, of like how they like these vampires are controlling this town and stuff. And like I said when I was coaching, was like I'm getting like 30 Days of Night vibes, for like this movie in the early 2000s or whatever. And it's like this vampire cult or this tribe of vampires, whatever you want to call it, just takes over this town and traps everybody in, and like but there's a lot of aspects to the game that maybe I've missed stuff before or whatnot. But basically, there's like all these like vampire like cultists that are like following them around, right? And they're like their army, and these characters, these enemies that you'll be fighting against, are trying to earn the right to become a vampire, right? So within doing that, when they achieve that, they get transformed into like different types of vampires. And they were showing some of like the characters on the screen, the different types, and it's like different enemy archetypes, right? You have like your ones that kind of blow up and stuff, and you have your other kinds as well and stuff. And it was like really interesting to think about playing through this like beautiful. The game was looking even better than I remember it before as well, watching this stream. A beautiful world with this like based on this East Coast town with this there's also this psychic component going on where they mess with your mind, and so you see things differently and stuff, so it's like gets a little trippy at times. And you're going through and you got this cult here, and you got to you're trying to free this town, and then they go into the weapons more as well, dude. And that was really cool. They talked about how there's like weapons all the way from like handmade kind of weapons all the way to like military grade stuff, high-end military grade stuff, and then they got the vampire specific weapons. And that was sick too, because they have this weapon where you put like just random like stuff into it, like that you pick up. Like they have like a pool, you could shoot a pool cue, or like they had like a whaling harpoon, or they had a gnome you could shoot a garden gnome, like a tipped hat and a garden gnome through them and
I did
stuff.
see that. That was hilarious.
And like all these things, right? And then there's another one that's like a UV light gun, right? That you can like petrify the enemies, and then like it just added so much more depth and context into everything you're going to be doing there. And it showed, what I'm most excited about is it showed the most classic things that we expect out of Arcane, like the ability systems, right? With the abilities and the cool things and unique ideas, but mixed with the story with the vampires. And it was a different take on and I don't really know like what to compare this game to, honestly. I mean, it's a lot of people out there put like stuff out there that was like Left 4 Dead and Back 4 Blood. It's not one of those games at all, right? And then there's people like Borderlands. Well, it's not. It's kind of Borderlands, but it's also more. It's like very Arcane, and it's two. This world is like two sections, right? It's got your town and it's got like your farmland type open world areas, right? So like playing it's going to be a very unique experience. And I think that's one of the most exciting things that I'm looking forward to too. And also it's just, again, dude, just gorgeous. But then when the lead developer there is talking about the story and, you know, how it's very narrative based and focused and all this kind of stuff, and how a lot of the abilities are focused on if you were playing by yourself. And then they add levels like to where there's aspects of it that will help in multiplayer if you like multiplayer add-ons, like this ability, like they mentioned the guy that can cloak, right? I guess there's a certain point when you level it up enough, if you're playing multiplayer, it will also cloak a teammate.
Yes.
Right.
Correct.
And stuff like that as well. And it's like, okay, like, so they're focusing on making it as great of an experience possible as they can single player. Right. And they're building off of that and making it fun with multiplayer. You know what I mean? So they're just doing it in a lot of the right ways. And I know I'm going to have a lot of fun. This actually I don't know. I can't put my finger on it necessarily 100%. It's not just one thing, right? It's just watching this and hearing them talk about everything and seeing it all in front of my eyes as they're explaining really tells us what this game is. For everybody who's like, what's Redfall? Is it what they didn't really understand? This explains 100% kind of what this game is, you know, and that's what added that hype level for me. And it jumped all the way up from like, you know, I was really looking forward to it as one of my more anticipated games, but now I'm like at 11 on this thing, dude. Like I am like Starfield Diablo are my two most anticipated games, right? And then but it's probably up there, like it might even surpass Gotham Knights for me for anticipated games, right? Like I'm really freaking looking forward to this game now, dude. They completely hammered home what makes it special, I think, with this. And that's the number one thing there, I think.
Yeah, this is again, I've been hyped from the beginning. You can go back and watch any of the shows that I was on when we first heard about Redfall and we knew that it was Arcane that was working on this. I said a lot what you just talked about, Mav.
Yeah.
That this, again, I'm a looter shooter fan. So when they talked about this potentially being a looter shooter, I was like, awesome. And I know that's not like the main part. That's where it deviates from like a Borderlands, where Borderlands' main focus is 1 trillion guns or whatever the heck it is, right? That's not necessarily going to be the case here. Yes, there is loot. Yes, you are going to be looking to upgrade. You're going to be looking to customize your gear. You're going to be looking to do all the same stuff you normally would do in a looter. But you can go back and watch any of the shows I was on. From the beginning, I said, whatever this turns out to be, Arcane is the one dev. I mean, there's probably a couple more, but the one dev I would want to take a classic gameplay style or game genre and flip it on its head, because you know Arcane is going to bring unique mechanics, unique something flavor to the world that is going to make it stand out. And that's what I said from the beginning. And so that's why everything leading up to this, even when we got the leaks and everybody was like, oh, it looks really generic. I'm like, yeah, but just wait. I'm like, we got to wait, because Arcane doesn't make generic. You can hate Arcane games. Not everybody's a fan of Prey. I get it. That's okay. You don't have to be a fan of Prey. But the one thing you can't say is that it's not unique in some of the ways it does things, that they don't bring some things new to the table that we didn't experience somewhere else. That's what Arcane is great at. That's why I was so hyped for this. And again, nothing I have seen every step of the way here has diminished that hype, especially after the showcase when I went back and watched the 4K, because I was watching it. I was like, okay, it looks really good, but it doesn't look polished. Maybe it's just a time frame thing or whatever the case may be. But then I went back and watched it in 4K and I'm like, okay, yeah, no, is looking fantastic. It's looking ridiculously good. And then today, again, I couldn't listen in depth, but I was listening the entire time and I did pick up on some of the stuff. So for me, number one thing that surprised me, because I was already expecting a lot of the uniqueness from Arcane. The one thing that did surprise me is the size of the map.
Yeah.
Of the maps, I should say, because it's broken into two maps. So there's going to be two maps. There's going to be the inner city, and then there's going to be the outskirts, the suburbs, churches, farm fields, all that kind of stuff. So that's what caught me off guard. I knew obviously what they were going for meant that it was going to have to be big. But when they said they actually took the entire space station from Prey just to see and dropped it into the actual game world within Redfall, that the entire the entire space station only took up the one part of the farm in the outskirts. That's all it took up. And they said that the farm is just one mission, right? And that was just one piece of the outskirts. That's how big this game is. And they talked about the details map that they've gone into here. And again, that's what Arcane, as far as story building goes, Arcane are fantastic. Okay. They're simply just real. They just know what they're doing. They're a lot like your Obsidians and obviously your Bethesdas. This team, and they talked about this in this interview too, Matt, how much of that team has been together for 20 plus years. Yeah, people have gone, new people have come in. Obviously, they've grown much bigger than they used to be, but there's still a core team like Bethesda, like Obsidian, that have been doing this for 20 plus years. And when you get that comfortable with people, when you just kind of know, hey, this is how we get A to B to C to D in certain structures within games, it becomes very easy. And it shows up because you do more building than you normally would when you're just starting out and you're trying to figure out, hey, how are we going to make this all kind of put together? You spend a lot of time and energy kind of getting the basics. When you've got a core team together that already knows those basics, like the back of their hand, that makes it much easier to build these worlds, and they can spend more time putting the details in. And so when they were talking about, hey, we've got all the places you expect. We got your liquor stores. We got your convenience stores. We got all these things. We want you to go inside these places. We want you to be able to climb up on the roofs. Then they talked about the lore, which you brought up, Mav, about the vampires and about the vampires' little followers that are following them around. Like, they took that from a lot of different places. We've seen vampire movies do the exact same thing, right? Blade and everywhere else, where, the vampires will always have a certain sect of humans that will do anything to try to become a vampire, right? Yeah. But they talked about that. But then they talked about that the vampires have, they may turn you into a vampire, but they may turn you into just a blood, basically a blood bag. I think they call it, right? A blood bag. Yeah, blood bag. And they went on and on about that. Then they talked about how this game was built as a single player experience, which they've stressed every time that they are interviewed. This is a single player game, but we also wanted you to have fun with friends if you want to play co-op. But they built it as a single player experience, which means that, again, if I got a day, if I got some time at night, I don't have time to hop in with everybody, but I want to hop into my world and I want to play around single player, I'm going to have the best experience out of Redfall possible, because they've already thought about, that's the main core of the game, is the single player experience. So to me, the way that they're stressing that, and they want each experience to be such a special one for each individual player, whether you're playing alone or co-op, that to me is, again, one of Arcane's greatest traits to how they're doing this game. This may be a new style or genre for them, but at the end of the day, they're still taking what they are already masters at and what they've mastered in their craft and bringing into this game. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel. So they are doing what they know. They're just making it a little bit bigger, a little bit more open than normal, but they're still going to bring all those qualities in the writing and the character development, all that kind of stuff. And the individual characters that they went through, Mav, along with the weapons and the special abilities, like you said, again, they keep shining because each one seems to be on each character has is going to have such unique abilities, and how you shape those abilities and how you decide to use those abilities. Again, that goes back to Arcane's foundation. That's what's going to make your experience, even if you both have the same character, kind of like how we were talking about Red Hood. They showed up Gotham.
Exactly.
You could have two. That's how they're taking this approach too. You could have two separate builds that play totally different of the same character based upon whatever the player wants to play as. And to me, that is what separates the average co-op to the exceptional co-op. Right. And that's that, because if I walk in, I want to know that I'm not just playing the same way Mav's playing because we just so happen to choose the same character. I actually could have a totally different build, and we could actually work together really well, even though we're playing the same character. That, to me, that's freaking amazing. So again, Arcane, I just love that studio. I love what they turned themselves into. That's why I said from the beginning, when ZeniMax was acquired, Arcane could have potentially been on the chopping block because their games have never sold extremely well. They've been critically acclaimed, critically accepted.
Critical darlings,
but they've never sold well because they're not everybody's cup of tea. But at the end of the day, this team now has the opportunity to mature even more so and grow and develop a new genre style that they necessarily haven't done before, but bring everything they know. And maybe this is the one, Mav. Maybe this is the one that they get, right? That everybody falls in love with. Maybe this is the next Left 4 Dead. At the end of the day, that people actually, we talked about the Starfields, we talked about all these games. Maybe Redfall's the one that actually starts bringing people over, even more people into the ecosystem once more and more people start playing it. It has the potential just because of who's behind it. And today's interview showing, like you said, I did see some new clips too. Again, I wasn't watching it, just staring at it, but when I was able to watch it, I did see some new stuff in there as well. Again, the ability to sneak through the entire environment if you want to. They talked about that, right? They talked about that as well. You want to sneak, you can sneak, and you can learn the patterns. You can do everything that you can do in all the other Arcane games. You can do that here, and you can totally evolve your gameplay around that. That freaking is so awesome. This is going to have a lot of replayability. I cannot wait to jump into this game. Again, I'm hoping, man, the way they're ramping up, I'm really hoping January. I'm really hoping they're that close.
They showed so much and talked so good today.
Yes.
They just kept saying 2023. They didn't even say the words early or anything like that.
No,
it was in Microsoft's 12-month thing, and the roadmap. So I'm thinking still it's going to be an earlier game, right? I hope so. I sure hope so.
Yeah, so do I. Boom. Great to see you, brother. Thanks for dropping in here, man. Always great to see you. And it's awesome, man. I hope everything's going well with you, sir. Jigga J also dropped in here. Jigga. And Naked HD, your main competitor, Love Chat 1, XYZ jumped in here for a bit. Thank you for dropping in here. We had to get rid of you, but thanks for dropping in here. Doom Reaper, great to see you as well. Why so serious? I don't remember if I got you guys in the beginning, but Jesse B had to go back to work. Jesse, I hope you have a great night at work if you're still able to listen. Yeah, Mav, Redfall is going to be a big one. I think it's going to be different than what people think it's going to be. And I think that it really does have the potential to be one of those ones that comes out of left field for a lot of people. And they just play it.
And we could all be, it could invent almost like a new genre based on co-op gameplay. And then we could all be talking 2 years. It's a Redfall-like.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. It certainly could.
Again, that next game's a Redfall-like,
Redfall-like. I like it. I wish they would come up with a term for some of the stuff they do. Arcane. They do deserve.
It's their own style. You know what I mean? Nobody could really duplicate it. Deathloop has a lot of that in it.
Yes, and that's why I can't wait for Deathloop. All right, Mav. So that was QuakeCon today. We got that one done. QuakeCon. Again, going on, I think, for the entire weekend or up through Sunday afternoon or something like that. So keep checking back for news because who knows? Maybe they got something else planned in there. But a lot of live gameplay. They got quiz shows going on. It's QuakeCon. It's a celebration. If you've never watched QuakeCon, you might tune in and be like, what are they doing? It's QuakeCon. This is what it's all about. It's a big celebration of the community. It's very cool. It's been going on for a long, long time. So it is a cool thing just to be able to tune in and see what's happening over there. All right, Mav. It has been an hour and a half, sir, already. Let us get into
the big topic. Or the big topics. I mean, it's like I don't. Yes. Wow.
Yes.
We're gonna do this.
Yes. Thing. We'll just say yes. I don't know how we're gonna break this up, but yes, let's do this. All right, everybody. So, if you weren't up at midnight like me, I was in bed. I know some people like Matt caught it early this morning.
I was in bed trying to go to sleep.
Were you?
Yeah.
I was like, already well asleep. Yes. But of course, I'm sure most of you have heard, but I don't even know how I want to state. Look, the Embracer empire is growing. These guys are on a feeding frenzy right now, like legit. Like this is not a joke. My man Lars, the CEO of Embracer, again, guys, been watching this show. You know, Embracer Group is right up there with my favorite publishers. And Lars, the CEO, man, he is right next to Phil at this point for me as far as gaming industry CEOs go. Yeah, this guy
is awesome,
bro. He's awesome. I love what they are doing over at Embracer, and they are just munching on things. So it came out early this morning. Announcement, of course, they are over in the EU. Came out this morning that Embracer Group, I don't know, bought everything, Mav, pretty much at this point. I just came out and said, oh, by the way, listen, you know, Tripwire, makers of Killing Floor and Maneater. Yeah, we picked them up. Oh, you know that little company called Limited Run Games? Yeah, we grabbed them too. Tuxedo Labs. You guys never heard of them, but they're out there. Yeah, they're part of us now too. Singtrix, you guys big on Singtrix? Yeah, well, they're now a part of Embracer Group as well. Oh, by the way, we got another studio that we can't talk about right now. We can't talk about right now, but the deal's done. And we're going to tell you at a later date.
They can't talk about it for commercial reasons, which may be
commercial reasons. Yes,
something to do with something upcoming.
Yes,
or some kind of announcement release, or something like that. You know,
something. The word is that it'll be like the third or fourth biggest purchase out of this group when it's all said and done. So it's going to be a good sized studio dev team. And then Mav, they're not done though. They're not done. No, that they didn't just stop with gaming studios. That's right. They went out and purchased Middle Earth Enterprises, MEE, and got all, or whatever you want to say, all of the available Lord of the Rings content underneath the Embracer Group as well. All told, Mav, $577 million is what we hear. Again,
I don't know if that includes the Middle Earth thing, because they decided not to disclose that as far for reasons as well.
I would say it has probably just the studio cost.
The studios,
the studio cost. So let me break this down. I'm going to read the GameIndustry.biz quick article here because it's not very long. This was written by Marie Delisandri. Over at GameIndustry.biz. Again, I love GameIndustry.biz. If you like the business level stuff, that's the place to go. It's like the Wall Street Journal of game industry, and they do great work over there. So she writes, Embracer to acquire Lord of the Rings IP, Tripwire, limited run, and more. Upfront buying price to reach SEK 6 billion, which is $576 million for 5 acquisitions plus 1 unannounced purchase. At a glance, Embracer Group acquires Middle Earth Enterprises, limited run, and Singtrix via a new division. So they created a whole new division to make those purchases called Free Mode. Tripwire Interactive and Tuxedo Labs was acquired underneath Saber Interactive, which we all know. Embracer has done an additional acquisition that remains unannounced. Aggregated upfront purchase price reaches $576 million. She goes on to say, Embracer has announced a number of major acquisitions, including the IP rights to Lord of the Rings and Maneater developer Tripwire Interactive. Company announced 5 acquisitions early this morning, plus 1 unannounced acquisition. Among the purchases, Embracer entered an agreement to acquire Middle-earth Enterprises, a division of the CLoWnZ company, which has owned the IP rights to The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit for over 50 years. Embracer said that the acquisition may also include matching rights in other Middle-earth related literary works unauthorized by the Tolkien estate and HarperCollins, which have yet to be explored. Embracer said the acquisition was in line with its IP-driven transmedia strategy and expressed interest in exploring additional movies based on iconic characters such as Gandalf, Aragorn, Gollum, Galadriel, oh my God, I always forget, Ewan, and other characters from the literary works of J.R.R. Tolkien, and continue to provide new opportunities for fans to explore this fictive world through merchandising and other experiences. Embracer also acquired collector's editions publisher Limited Run, with the transaction also including the company's 40% ownership in the joint venture Super Deluxe Games in Japan, that will source more games to Limited Run on the Western market and provide a channel to sell Limited Run's catalog in one of the strongest markets in the world for physical games. Singtrix, which provides vocal processing effects technology for karaoke, gaming, and entertainment, was also part of the buying spree, with its acquisition alongside Middle-earth Enterprises Limited Run, done via Embracer's new operative division, Free Mode. Free Mode will focus its operating activities in the retro, classic, and heritage gaming category, as well as investing in iconic gaming and entertainment properties, Embracer said. The group also announced the acquisition of Killing Floor and Maneater developed Tripwire Interactive and its publishing arm, Tripwire Presents, as well as teardown developer Tuxedo Labs, both via its subsidiary, Saber Interactive. Embracer Group CEO Lars Wingerford comment, today, Embracer becomes an even better group. I am pleased to welcome an amazing group of entrepreneur-led companies to the Embracer family and to extend our portfolio with some truly remarkable IPs and franchises, including The Lord of the Rings. It is encouraging that our group has become a natural and preferred buyer of creative, growing, and profitable companies within gaming and entertainment. Several discussions with entrepreneurs now joining have been ongoing for more than 3 years before the stars aligned today, which underlines the importance of a long-term perspective in building our group. Earlier this year, Variety reported that the CLoWnZ company was looking to sell the rights for several J.R.R. Tolkien works, including The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. All right, Matt. Look, you and I talked about Lars and Embracer Group a couple months ago. There was a great interview. Again, I posted on Twitter again today for everybody that was from GameIndustry.biz. It was after the Tomb Raider acquisition and Eidos Montreal, Crystal Dynamics and Eidos acquisition. And they did a great sit down with this guy. This is when I really started being extremely impressed with him and really digging what he was putting down when it came to the industry and how he saw things. There's somebody who's got a similar value system when it comes to the games industry. As Phil, it's Lars. And I would love to see these two have a sit down and actually see what they discuss, because they are about enabling creatives to do what they do best and go develop what they want to develop. We've heard that from Phil. We hear that from Lars in every single interview he does. And so far, that's exactly what we've been seeing. They also have the same mindset when it comes to IPs. Now, obviously, Embracer, more focused on the double A's. Phil, obviously, with Microsoft behind him, more focused on triple A's. But he does not want IPs to fall in the wrong hands. Both him and Lars have a huge, gigantic respect for the history of this industry and games that came before. Again, for people who don't remember, a beloved game of mine that I never thought I would see again till the day I die. I never thought I would see it. Time Splitters. I never thought I'd see that IP come back again. Lars, Embracer Group went out, got that IP, and then went ahead and got some of the original team back together. And they are currently working on Time Splitter 4 as we speak right now, which is due out in the next year to 2 years. This dude has got it, Mav. He's got it. Now, some questions about where the money's coming from. We'll find out at some point where the money's coming from. We don't think it's China. but it could be Middle Eastern stuff as well.
I think there was a Saudi Arabian investment.
So there's some question there. Again, don't like to see the outside hands coming in too much into this industry, but
he addressed that as well via a answer. I guess there was questions, so he went ahead and put it out there, right?
So again, we'll see how that turns out, plays down the road. But right now, I gotta say, Embracer Group is doing all the right things. We just heard from THQ Nordic, which again was one of the big starting points for Embracer, that they've got 45 games in development, Matt. 45 games in development. Let me run down some of the stats real quick, and I'll let you take over here with your thoughts, just your initial thoughts, and then we can kind of look things specifically, I guess is how we'll do it.
Yeah.
Embracer Group, as of August 2022, 13,800 employees from 40 different countries, 120 internal development studios, 120 development studios, 850 owned or controlled IP/franchises, 220 games in development, 25 AAA games expected in the next 4 years. That's 6 a year for anybody out there trying to do math. IP rights to the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, of course, which we just got announced. Lars is not just focused on the gaming industry, man. Of course, that's what we talk about here all the time, but obviously something that we talked about Microsoft Xbox eventually getting interested in is this new transmedia that he talks about. He talks about IP that can go everywhere: books, movies, TV, games, board games, whatever the case may be, comics. That's what he's interested in. And we've talked about that's where the industry is going, that we're going to see a consolidation of the entertainment industry as a whole, not just gaming, but it's going to be entertainment industry is getting consolidated as well. And that these IP that have that power are more valuable than anything else going right now. And that we see eventually Microsoft, we'd love to see Microsoft Xbox step back into the entertainment world as a whole with maybe a WB Discovery purchase, right? Something big. But we're focused on Embracer right now. So Matt, would you obviously you were watching this happen kind of live. You were seeing Twitter tweets go out and you were going, oh my God. It was like one tweet after another.
News, and then that happened. It's like, what's going on? It's like, really? Because I saw the Lord of the Rings thing at first, right? The whole Middle Earth. And it's like, well, I was like, wow, Embracer got him, because we had anticipated something happening, right? Because it was announced that Lord of the Rings, whole Middle Earth and Tolkien stuff was all up for auction from the company that owned them. It's all Xantz was the company. And so we knew at some point, we even had discussions on our shows about this, like who should get them. Well, can Microsoft go and get Lord of the Rings? Is Amazon going to go and get them or whatever? Never saw in a million years. Would not have guessed Embracer Group getting the rights to Lord of the Rings, dude. And that was the one that just jumped off the page at first. It was like, holy cow, what can they do with this now? Because we've already seen awesome news coming from Embracer Group about IPs that we love. This is the thing I love most about the direction of that company. It's about letting those guys make this kind of stuff that they want to make, and doing gaming is like it's almost, I'm not gonna say that they won't have bad practices probably here and there. It's gonna infiltrate for the most part. What we're seeing now is like talks like, hey, they want to bring back Deus Ex, they want to bring back this, they want to bring back that, and it's absolutely awesome news. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking of, okay, so who do they got? They got all these awesome devs. They got now they got Crystal Dynamics, they got Eidos Montreal, right? And from a gaming perspective, I think it's pretty awesome. Okay. I think for all like the movies and TV shows, they're going to operate kind of like normally how they have been for the most part, right? They'll do licensing deals with different companies and stuff. Like WB does the Lord of the Rings stuff right now, and for the movies, and Amazon has that show coming, right? Which if you see everything involved with the financially, Middle Earth Enterprises is going to reap benefits from all of these things coming out. So that means Embracer Group will reap benefits from all these things coming out, and they can turn around and put that into more projects. And this was a slam dunk for them. This is like one of the biggest IPs in the world right? As far as like entertainment goes, because you're talking about the birth of fantasy with this, right? Talking about the Hobbit, you're talking about Lord of the Rings, you're talking about this whole genre with that can spawn games and movies and books and TV shows and all this stuff. And it reminds me of like almost like Disney is like, you know, they're trying to get their hands in all these different things and like grow this big like entertainment monster studio that's pretty much where they can do anything. And they freaking somehow over all the other companies out there, they got Lord of the Rings, man. And they continue to like, it's like I imagine this like virtual board game of Monopoly going on with the gaming and the entertainment industry right now. There's a board game of Monopoly going on, and there's all these pieces, right? There's all these spaces that people can land on, right? And Microsoft's sitting there right now with its hand tied, negotiating with the to make a deal for the biggest piece. They're trying to get Boardwalk, right? And you got like these Baltics and you know, you got all these like little spaces, you know, you got your oranges and your purples and your light blues,
Tennessee
and
Avenue.
stuff. And it's like Embracer's like,
New York.
Which one of these do I want to buy? You know what? I'll take all of them. I'll just own that side of the board, you know? And it's like, okay, well, guess what? That's going to allow a lot of stuff. Now, what happened here was they got one of the best pieces to use here with Lord of the Rings, because now combined with everything else, they got one of the cool pieces where you can really showcase the talent that you've acquired. They bring a lot of attention, bring a lot of excitement, bring a lot of hype. This also involves marketing and stuff. You know, you can get people behind Lord of the Rings. When you say Lord of the Rings something, people pay attention, right? When people say Middle Earth, people pay attention, right? So when you can use that and you can showcase it and put out there, okay, you look at the IPs they have now. They have Tomb Raider, which is a really big IP. They got Lord of the Rings, and I think they're acquiring more and more. They also got a bunch of other ones with all these acquisitions. So man, they're on like this massive like growth that I've never seen before from a publisher in a short period. 3 years ago, again, we talk about this. We never heard of Embracer Group, right?
Yeah.
And you look at it and you're like, hey, what if I told you one day, like in 3 years from now, there's going to be a new publisher name out there that's going to own like 100 something studios. It's going to have 13,000 employees, and it's going to even own Lord of the Rings, and it's going to own Tomb Raider, and it's going to own Deus Ex. It's going to own freaking all those other games that we kind of like alluded to in there, like keep coming out.
Dark Horse
Comics. It's going to be this new entertainment conglomerate out of nowhere. It's going to come and like consume all this stuff, and it's ran by a guy that really cares about this shit, right? Yeah. And it's like
cares.
Right. He's like, it's like preservation plus growing the brands based on the popularity of those and trying to do right by them as much as they can. And as far as we still got to see a lot of this, we got to see the results and stuff. But right now he's saying most of the right things. Right. And these acquisitions are just crazy, man. And they keep talking about their capital is increasing from investments and stuff, but also from increasing business. Right. They're doing well with their business also. Right. So people are seeing results, and it's allowing them to keep doing more things. They're not done either.
No,
they're not done. Like they have a lot of money to use and cash and stuff and for spending on things that they've allocated for acquisitions. This was just a portion of it. Right. And what I don't know is what's next. I mean, I think there's more coming. We know that one hasn't been announced yet.
Right.
You know, which is already even part of this deal. But even if you just look and pick apart each one of these individually, it's an awesome move for them. Right. And again, it's like, I can imagine the board there, or like he has like, oh, hey, I need my acquisitions attorney to bring in a list. Okay, which are some of the, you know, I got my financial advisor, got acquisitions guy, I need these attorneys here. I got to bring me a list of like acquirable studios, and we'll see like what comes up. And then he looks at this list, and he's like, okay, I like them. Yeah, what do they got going on? Oh, well, that's those guys. I like that game. Yeah, okay. This guy going on. Oh, okay. You know what? I'll just get them all. Just send in the offers. Just make it happen. Just make it happen. You know, don't come back unless you get them. Okay, don't come in this door unless you get them. Okay, that's what I can. That's what I can like almost see envisioning. And he's like, wait, we need to protect them. If we don't get them, Tencent's gonna get them. If we don't get them, you know, like Amazon's gonna get them. We need to get this deal done now. I could imagine this kind of stuff going on, right? Like it's freaking
He's a strike
crazy.
while the iron's hot kind of
Yes.
guy. He is legit one of those dudes that's just like, get the deal done. We need this. That's the way he is. And hey, anybody out there listening too, side note today, because he did do some interviews today as well. I haven't seen anywhere that somebody's published the full interview because they kind of broke it down a little bit. But I did see one quote from him. If you guys need any reason to love Mr. Lars Wing of Fours anymore, they asked him about the current state of the industry and what he saw coming. And his quote was, I see it going back to the basic. I'm paraphrasing here, so full quote, but I see it going back to the basic, getting back to the basics again, and getting away from all this NFT stuff.
Yeah, he said less NFT, less blockchain talk.
Yeah,
you know.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Square Enix is like, what?
What? Wait, no.
What?
We're pumping all our money into. Yes.
That's
Lars is the man. Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah. When he says that, it lets me know that his thinking of the direction that he wants to run that company. We got to get to some super chats.
Yeah. I was going to do that for you, but go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead. No, you go ahead. I want to see you pronounce the names.
I knew. I already saw it. All right. Alvin, member for 3 months, said PC Game Pass updated PFP again today. More Death Stranding picks. Of course, that was when we were talking Death Stranding. Yes, they did, sir. It is obvious what is happening at this point. So tomorrow, everybody, be on the lookout. It's supposed to be the official announcement. Let's see here. Let's go down. I got to find my Drawn TJ, brother. Great to see you slipping in here. $2 super chat. Thank you, sir. Hi, guys. Anything new about the next Need for Speed? No. And that is something that has to be talked about. If they're going to bring it out this year, which EA...
Supposed to be an announcement in September, is what the rumors were, I believe, from Tom Henderson. I think had, or somebody did on Twitter, kind of let out some stuff that I think in September, there's supposed to be some kind of an EA thing where they're going to reveal some stuff. And then in November, potentially that game's going to release. November 4th was the rumored release date for Need for Speed. So it's just a rumor, but
it's, right underneath that, I just saw Jigga J didn't do a super chat, but he asked, is Redfall single player with bots or you'll be by yourself? I don't know if anybody answered this for you, Jigga. If you're still listening, single player is single player straight up. Yeah. They're building from the ground up. There won't be any bots with you. So whatsoever, it's just you. Drawn TJ with another $2 super chat. Thank you again, sir. Microsoft buys Embracer Group next. LOL. Yeah, that's been the big kind of next talk around the community in some parts, saying, when's if this is all a part of Phil's plan? He's just got Embracer Group out here buying up things. And then when they're done with the Activision Blizzard deal, they're just going to gobble up Embracer Group. You would think scrutiny came down on them for the Activision Blizzard deal. Yo, if they go after Embracer, the scrutiny is going to come extremely hard. I think Embracer is setting up to be one of the big publishers, and we'll talk more about that for this generation and going forward. So I don't think that they're interested in that, but never say never.
I wouldn't have guessed Activision Blizzard either, to be honest.
Nope, neither would I. All right, then I've got, and I apologize up front. Bunasoth Fumichi. Okay. All right. We're going to go with that. Buna. And I apologize if I butchered your name. My apologies. Buna. I'm just going to call you Buna. We're going to go. He drops $20 super chat and they say, hi, Pong and Mab. Well, hi to you. Thank you for dropping by our show. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you. And that was very, very generous of you. Thank you so much. Drawn TJ coming back. Speaking of generous, another $5 super chat. Hell yeah, another Time Splitters. Yes, brother. That is right. We are getting another Time Splitters. I'm so freaking excited. Oh, man. Hey, Master Clowns X3, good to see you in here as well. Appreciate you. Oh, look at this. Splendiferous. Brother, showing up. I hope you're not driving right now. Tell me you're not driving, Splin. And tell me you're not making the wife listen to us. $2 super chat. But doesn't Embracer have publishers? They can't. I don't know what that's in reference to, but doesn't Embracer have publishers? They can't.
Embracer has like subsidiary publishers within Embracer Group of themselves, and
yes, they keep all the publishers independent,
Yeah.
much like Microsoft is doing, right?
But but Microsoft could buy Embracer Group, and then they could still operate the same way and just have Embracer Group as a subsidiary of Microsoft, and then all those other companies are subsidiaries of Embracer Group. And
bro, I can't imagine that. And then Splin asked earlier too, we were talking about older stuff. Pong, so what do you know about Eternal Champions? Let me tell you something, brother. I just realized it did the Hulk Hogan there. Eternal Champions, one of the greatest fighting games ever created that nobody talks about, or very few talk about, and very few remember. Sega Genesis. That's when I was working at FuncoLand. Okay, FuncoLand was GameStop before GameStop. GameStop was created in the South. We had FuncoLand towards the North. GameStop came in, wound up buying out FuncoLand and a bunch of other ones. FuncoLand was the original. I got to meet the owner. I worked for FuncoLand. We used to close down the store and we'd have Eternal Championship nights where we would do matches after matches after matches with the employees, man. Eternal Champions, one of my favorite fighting games of all time, and that should come back. Hey, Lars, that's the next one on your list. If you don't already own Eternal Champions IP, go find who owns it and grab that up. Please get it done. All right. Let's see here, Matt. So now we got the basics out of the way, Matt. How do you want to break this down a little bit? Should we try to talk about a little bit what this kind of means here? So, I mean, again, we've talked about Embracer because we've been on this bandwagon for quite a while. When they first started coming on the scene, and we saw them move on Gearbox, Crystal Dynamics, Eidos, and we kind of knew they were moving into AAA space. But here they kind of went back and did a whole mix of things. And we kind of talked about Lars' mentality and the whole company's mentality here. Let's talk about Lord of the Rings specifically here, Mav.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings is hot. It's been hot for a while. It's continued to be hot. Now, again, I go back. I read Lord of the Rings in 8th grade. The real ones, the full ones. I got through all of them. Lord of the Rings has been in my life for a long time. Obviously, Peter Jackson did an absolutely even better than I thought he could do with the movies. I thought it just, again, you can only do so much. The books are so full. There's only so much you can do, even with 3-4 hours. There's only so much you can do. Thought he did a great job, but they were, like you talked about, Mav, when you